So from the day when I first made a simple newsletter applications, when I was in my higher secondary educations, it just took me around 3 years to become a software engineer in one of the organizations. And why it took me around 3 years is because I have followed the traditional way of becoming a software engineer, completing my certification in computer science and getting those theoretical educations, and the thing which is not even required actually to become a software developer, which I needed to complete in those curriculum and the syllabus of those computer science. And you might have the question that is it possible to become a software engineer faster? Then definitely you can become. Instead of spending 4 years in completing the degree, you would be able to do this within just 6 months to 1 year. Even most of them would be able to complete this within 3 to 4 months. And why I'm saying this, because I have spent countless of the time on something theoretical knowledge and algorithms which is not even being used in my current industry, which I have been working as a software developer. So often I ask myself, what if I go back in my times knowing what actually I know today? What would I do differently so that I will go through this faster to become a software engineer? And that is what actually I'm going to talk about today itself. And in this journey, I will remove all the flops and all the unnecessary thing which is not even required in the industry if you are going to start working with. And throughout this video, I'm going to mention 4 major mistakes every beginner generally makes, so that you could also avoid the same to make you track of becoming a fast as a software developer. So the first one would be to pick one of the programming languages which will help us learn faster and to get a job as soon as possible. So here it is. In this way, I would have to go with first. It should be easy to learn. It means syntax intuitive. And also it should be very similar to our own English language. And it should teach us the fundamentals, because that is what actually we have to first make a foundation of. It should cover all the fundamentals. So later on, when we are going to become a programmer, it is going to be easier for us to become a software developer or engineer, to land any kind of job itself, so that it would also help us to build the application in the process to make it happen. And that is what actually going to teach us the importance and all the concept and fundamentals of the programming. And this should be also even a fast and concise, so that we do not have to write hundreds of the lines of code. Instead, a few of the lines of code can do the work which is going to be according to our requirement itself. And I know many of you have already been guessed which language I am going to mention. Yes, it is Python. Because it is one of the language which is very beginner friendly. Even every of the beginners who has not even touched any of the programming languages before would be able to learn it very fast, because it is more like an English. You would be able to understand full of the concept whichever necessary in the journey according to your requirement, and that's what actually we need. And hence it is not another type of languages like we'll have to write hundreds of the lines of code. It is just going to make the same task done, or make the software application to be completed within very less lines of codes. Instead, if we are going with Java or C++, it is going to be taking a lot of lines of code to achieve the same requirement of the same feature of this application when we are building. And because it is very versatile, we use it in scripting, even in full stack application, even in data science, all of them, it has already been used and it is still being used. Why I have choose this language is because it make you feel excited, because you would be able to understand things very fast. And while you have been building, you won't be getting frustrated most of the times, because most of the time what actually they do is they might quit. But this one is the easiest one, so you will keep up to the end. And most of them, why they avoid one of the thing is you have to enjoy while you are doing something. And that is very important for us, because if you are not going to enjoy the process, you are not going to long lasting for the process to make things happen. And that is what actually the concept I have chosen this for. Because if you are going with this Python, you would be learning things faster, you will be able to understand, and most importantly, you will enjoy the process of building and learning these programming skills. Okay, most of you might be thinking that, okay, we have already aware of which programming languages we are going to choose for the process of becoming a software engineer very fast. Now, how do I learn this? This is what actually the second point is. So how you are going to learn? This is where the most beginners make their first mistake. and that is they go through the tutorials, they watch instead of doing while they want to learn the things. They go to the YouTube, they go to the Udemy, and they watch like a TV show, and that is actually not going to get you strengthened on these programming languages itself, and to build something really interesting and might be helpful for in the real life industry standard. So what you have to do is just go with one of the course. Maybe it will be completely in a structured way, so that you are not going to skip any of the concept and later on you are going to face any kind of a struggle. So you have to follow one of the course which is in a structured way that will help you learn the things faster. And if you are asking me that what would be the course, just go to the Udemy, find the Python, and here it is one of the course which is very good. According to you, you have to choose which one is better for you. The first one, if you are asking me, you should check out the course which has at least every lessons should be one of the practice session which should be done, because if we are not practicing the concept which we have been learning, it might be for us very difficult later on, because just by learning and watching is not going to be helpful if we are not doing the same while we have been learning. And also you should be aware that there should be a kind of mini project, so that you will be also learning how they are going to build the project, and in the process you also have to learn from the same way that how they think while they have been programming, and what would be the procedure for us to make this project, so that later on if I are going to make my own project, it will be helpful for me to think in such a way to build the application. So it should be sure that there should be mini project which will build a real life industries applications. And also you should be first concerned of that the course which you have been chosen, it should be very interesting for you, it should be very interactive, and you might find you just have to go through the concept, that whichever concept they have been covering, is it making you interesting and excited to learn the things? That is what you also have to think of. And then after you start learning from that course itself, and just finish till the very end. Do not even skip in between. So once this course has already been completed, you now have also built few of the mini projects. Just go to one of the channel. I think it is one of the very good channel for me as of now, which helped me most of the time. Pick one of the projects out there. From this channel, the free code camp. So here in this free code camp channel, you would find the beginner Python project. So from this, there is a lot more interesting project which you can choose among your, according to your interest, and you will be able to start building along the process, so that it is also going to help you the way how you think and approach the problem that you, when you are going to build something on. If there is any kind of feature you have to build, how you should approach the way it is going to be building. And now we are just coming into the third point, that how do we get the job? And that is where the second mistake beginners do. They do not prepare for an interview. Just like you have been preparing to learn the languages, to learn how to build the application, you should also prepare to appear for the interview process, because this is also one of the way where interviewer play a different way to find you solve the problem. It also sometimes includes the DSA, data structure and algorithm concept. So you should be first aware that where you have to complete the data structure and basic knowledge of all those things. Because if you have already started with Python, I am going to suggest you one of the course. You can go with this Udemy, and here you will be able to find one of the data structure where you could find and learn in Python itself. That would be very interesting for you, because in this course, the important thing is it is going to have one of the data structure concept to be completed with just in this Python language only. So far we have already done a lot of debugging, coding and fixing the bugs, building the applications. So now you are like a software engineer but without any official title. And in this process you have also learned integrated development environment, IDE, the terminals, the Git, that is going to be one of your version control, and GitHub where you can host your codes, because this is what actually going to be one of the portfolio which you are going to include in your resume. While applying for the application of the job, you would feel confident enough because you have already made a portfolio while you were doing something, the coding and programming. And if you wish, you can also go with the lead code problems, and where you have to find and solve from easy type, and then after medium, and then after hard type questions, but before that you also have to go with only the beginner one and then after the medium one. And in this process, while you have been applying for the job applications, it might make you sometimes feel a bit demotivated, but you should have to just keep going on, because in this process sometime in the interview you might find that the same concept has already been come and you have just solved the problem. Sometimes it has already been happened that, okay, this question I have been just figuring out how to solve the problem I have never gone through before. And this might happen. You just have to keep going on. You just have to practice every single day till you have any other jobs where you would be able to start working with. And that is actually the normal. Everyone face the same situation. You should not be dismotivating yourself. This is how exactly the process of becoming a software engineer is also, like any other industry. And that is where the beginner make the third mistake. They generally quit in between instead of keeping it to the end, because consistency is the only key. If you want to really get into somewhere else you have already decided of and still able to figure out, not able to figure out, and you are in the journey to make it happen, definitely you will be reaching there. But before that you have to be persistent on what actually you have been doing. And as of now we have already covered what actually would be the way to fast track of your journey to become a software engineer. And now the fourth one, that is most beginner make the mistake, and that is very important. It is the last but not the least. I should have just taken it into the first place, but I'm just kept it into the last one. And this one is mindset. Have a coding mindset. Have the one who would have to become a software engineer in the journey. You should have at least one of the mindset that when you started from the day one, you are in the journey to become a software engineer. You should not have the kind of mindset that after you have landed one of the job, then only you become a software engineer. It should not be the case, because if you have already decided from the day one itself, you will be progressing faster, because now you have been thinking about yourself. You are now in the journey to become a software developer, and now from this point itself your action would be based on how the software engineer do. The way you approach the problem, the way you solve the problem is what actually going to make the process a bit faster than it ever was. And so finally, thank you very much. Hope you will follow the same to reach where actually you want to become a software engineer. And if you really want to fast track even more, because we have been living now in AI era, and there is a lot of LLMs available out there, and how we can use and leverage this AI to make this process even things faster, then please check out this video itself. You will be able to find it. And if you really want to make this process not just for the 6 months and 1 year, because becoming a software engineer is going to be one of the career for you, and it is going to be years and years. So instead of just being stuck in the beginning, how you would be able to make it as your system, so you should also check this video itself, how it is helpful for you to make the system for you and would be able to consistent, so that you are not even going to quit after that. So now within just 3 months, which you have already covered this, and you would able to become the one who has already built one of the system for yourselves to learn these things faster, and also to make one of the system to persist for years, maybe 2 or 3 years, and it would be more easier for you. And by this way you are just going to leave 90% of the peoples behind you, because you have already built the system and a structured way of making things happen. So thank you very much the time which you have given to yourself, and definitely we'll see you very soon. Till then, have a nice life.